Dobrovic, or in plain English, good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. I was going to say TTML there. To League of Europe Division 1. We are here for Season 5. It is round 4 of the Championship as we take in the Russian Grand Prix from the Sochi Autodrome. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as always as your lead commentator, and joining me in the commentary box as always on a Saturday evening, it is Mr. Daniel Field. Dan, how you doing?
Doing brilliant as always. It's a pleasure to be back here for the Russian Grand Prix. We haven't come here since Season 3, before I was even a part of the League of Europe community. Someone who's not doing too well in the championship at the moment, Alphatrix, was the previous winner of this Grand Prix, so hopefully we can see the Brit retake some of his momentum that he's just not picked up this season.
Well, both him and Montana haven't had much momentum so far this season. I think that reflects on the top 3 in the standings coming into tonight as well. M Short with his second win of the season. Are we seeing a changing of the guard perhaps with Britain and Canada going his way? He leads on 62 points with D Daniel in second on 52. Verstappen is in third on 32. If you said to me after 3 rounds those 3 would be leading the championship, I would have laughed and probably eaten a hat, if I've got to be honest. Montana in 4th on 28 points, with Jiao Jiao in 5th on 21. Josesas in 6th on 19. Name Changer in 7th on 18. Alphatrix, who won here the last time we came, of course, in Season 3, in 8th on 15. And these only point scores, actually, so far this season, was in Britain, where he finished 3rd. So that is a tragedy for Alphatrix. Hardy in 9th on 13, tied with Kazizel. Lando and Neo and Bolin all tied for 11th on 10. Campbell on 8, Rocco on 6, Connor on 6, Kuka Games on 2, and Chapelelli, Botolelli on 2 points. And also Cohen, Toxic and Vaporizer have raced this season, as well as Yelt, but they've picked up no points so far. But M Short leading the championship coming into tonight, 10 points the advantage over D Daniel, who was again very consistent in Canada. How do you see this race panning out tonight?
Well, just given his form as of recent, you've got to say M Short is definitely going to be one of the favourites to take the win of the Grand Prix and certainly finish in a really strong position. He was having a really great week in Canada. We did see Montana fighting him quite hard, and I do believe for quite some time Montana was actually leading the Grand Prix. So it is showing that Montana is retaking some of his form that he had last season, where he'd win and win and win. So I definitely think M Short and Montana are probably our 2 favourites for tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think, honestly, with the constructors being as close as it is, it's all to play for as well in that. Racing Point lead the way. D Daniel and Montana, of course, teaming up for that team. They're on 80 points in the lead. McLaren in second on 72, and they're well above the rest. Renault in third on 40. Alfa Romeo in 4th on 31. Mercedes in 5th on 23. Williams and Red Bull in 6th, tied on 21 points. Ferrari in 8th on 18. AlphaTauri in 9th on 15. And Haas in 10th on 6 points. And Racing Point got an 8-point advantage coming into tonight as well. Have they been the most consistent team so far this season, or has M Short's wins brought McLaren into play?
I'm thinking that probably Racing Point has been the more impressive team, but it's not by much. Of course, Neo is in the other McLaren. He's certainly had some strong performances, but he's not just been on the level that his teammate has been so far this season. It seems a little bit more divided between D Daniel and Montana, of course, winning the first race. D Daniel and Montana having a really good race last week, having the win on the cards, but of course it was taken away by M Short. So I definitely would say that Racing Point are the better team out of McLaren and themselves, but I wouldn't put it past McLaren having a good performance, given that Neo on his day can be very, very fast.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, I think, to see. Division 3, by the way, is already started up. They're just going into qualifying now. We are about to get going into qualifying here in Division 1 tonight in Russia. And did you know in real life, Mercedes are the only constructors to have won a real-life race around here? You can, of course, name the 3 drivers, Hamilton, Bottas and Rosberg, but I want to know who won in what year. Put it in the comment section to what you think. Get a little bit of interaction going in there as we now get in towards qualifying. Qualifying is going to be quite interesting, I think. We should see a majority of the guys going out on a set of soft compound tyres if it's dry, but there's always that uncertainty of rain within qualifying.
Yeah, I do actually quite like the Russian circuit, because it does have that variety in that it can either be rain or it either can be sunny. So it is definitely a bit luck of the draw. as to what conditions you're going to get. I do tend to prefer wet qualifying than a dry race, because if you remember in Canada, it got a little bit dry. Well, it was wet, but it got a little bit dry in terms of the action for last week towards the end of the Grand Prix. So yeah, I really do enjoy the circuit. A lot of people don't really like it, but I think it's good.
It is good. Daniel Hoggart, by the way, saying in Discord that he's been invited into the Division 1 session by Campbell. Are we going to get a rare appearance, I wonder, from our Division 2 extraordinaire and commentator for the season, last season as well, of course, Daniel Hoggart. Are we going to get him in? We have got a full grid, so he can't get in. Alpha Trix and Montana, we are just waiting on to ready up, and we are now getting going and readying up, and hopefully it is going to be dry in qualifying. Waiting for players still going around on my screen. We are about to get going. I do promise we're going to load into the lobby at some point. But obviously this track in question, Russia, obviously the Sochi Autodrome, they hosted, of course, the 2014 Winter Olympics here. And it's a circuit which has really caught up. It's 3.6 mile in length, around 5.8 kilometres. There's 53 laps. It is dry in qualifying as we now load in. And honestly, there's about 26, 27 laps in terms of 50% race. It's going to be fascinating, I think, if the one-stop can be prioritised over the two-stop as well.
I think around the circuit on this game, I believe it is a straight soft to medium strategy, or medium to soft, and that means the alt strat isn't as powerful as it could be if it was on another circuit. Like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I think it's really strong on China. I think that's a tough alt strat. I can't get my words out right now, but yeah, it's certainly good for the strategy.
Tell you what, Montana's not going to be the first out on track tonight. This is very, very rare what you're seeing. Montana, Racing Point has not even left the pit garage, I think. I don't know who's first out on track. There is a Racing Point going forward. Montana's coming out the pit lane now. So it's teammate D. Daniel, who's second in the championship, coming in tonight, first out on track. And beautiful blue skies here in the Sochi Autodrome. We are just a couple of 100 metres away from the Black Sea as well. And on the left-hand side, right in front of the driver there, coming through turn 4, is the Fish Stadium. The Fish Stadium hosted the opening and closing ceremonies in the 2014 Winter Olympics.
Well, that's a nice little bit of trivia there, but at the moment, D. Daniel's just running on his out lap. He's got a nice clear track in front of him. He'll be the first one to take us through a lap. Of course, they've got to warm up the tyres on this run, and because it is nice and sunny, they're not going to have to do too much weaving. As for pole times, I'm not too sure as to what they're going to be setting. I've actually forgotten what the kind of aiming for pole. I think it is around a 28, somewhere around that mark.
Yeah, Matt Tibos has just put in the comment section, just reiterating what you've just said there. 28.8 for pole prediction, for his pole prediction, he says. Good to see Matt Tibos as well, Division 2 driver, of course, in TTML. And D. Daniel now is going to be setting about on this lap, and D. Daniel will be hoping to carry on the real good form that he has shown in the last 3 races so far this season, and he'll be hoping to try and improve on that as he now comes through. Final corner, he's taking 7th gear through there, now he downs it to 5th, which is ideal, and now opens up the taps to begin a lap of the Sochi Autodrome, and now he sets about. Yellow flags in sector 2 and 3, there's a lot of traffic out on track, so don't worry about that at all, just drivers slowing down. The General very close to the curb, coming through turn 1 there, and now on the run down towards turn 2. Hard on the brakes after the 100 metre board, through turn 2, through turn 3, and now through this 180 degree left-hander, flying through the left-hand side, as Kuka Games has left the session. He is Slovenian rather than Polish, as shown on his flag in the lobby, as now D. Daniel comes through turn 4, and then on the run towards turn 5, very close to the outside wall there, as now D. Daniel through the first sector, 32.5 is not too bad at all through the first sector, and the Dutchman will be hoping to try and get this middle sector right, and this middle sector can really, really push you to the limit in terms of invalidation, especially this double left-hander coming up, as he now flies through here, and now passes the ice hockey arena to the right-hand side, the Olympic Village just beyond that, and now D. Daniel running now through onto the straight, as we see now, he comes down the straight, reaching in excess of 200 mile an hour before this braking zone appears at the end of the middle sector. Middle sector split is a 103.4, 1:04, so it's not too bad from D. Daniel currently, as he now flies through into the final sectors. There's the roller coaster on the right-hand side, as he now comes up towards turns 15 and 16. Very tricky complex. It's through a 90-degree left-hander, going uphill, and then through a right-hander, and now pretty much flat to the line from here on, as now D. Daniel comes through turn 17, and then through turn 18 out on track. A downhill run to the line from this point onwards, and D. Daniel across the line, 29.4. Not bad of a lap so far. Brilliant good. Really good.
Yeah, really strong bank time coming out from him. We've got an Alfa Romeo car just coming up to the line. That's Zhao Zhao. He's at 103.4 through the second sector split. We'll see what he can do across the line, and look at that for a margin. 500ths of a second ahead of D. Daniel, trying to find who else we've got on a run. Looks like a whole rainbow in the middle sector, and oh yeah, beautiful from Montana. He's just a cut above the rest in that regard.
He's only 300ths ahead of M. Short, though, and he's only 300ths ahead of Zhao Zhao as well, so I honestly think Montana might be holding either something back on that lap, or possibly seen. So Williams actually cuts the pit lane exit there. That was Kuka Games coming out onto an out lap, but Montana out on top. Just seeing if there's anybody else on a lap currently. Kuhn Bly coming through the middle sector split, 103.4 I think that was from Kuhn, as he now comes through up towards turn 15 and 16 as Alphatrix goes to the top of the standings with a 129.3. So good up there from the Red Bull man. Of course he won last time out when we came here in season 3, and now Kuhn Bly coming through the final couple of corners through 17. Really unstable setup as he comes through turn 18. He's going to be towards the bottom end. Yeah, it goes 11th with a 29.8, but not a bad lap from him there, because Zizzle has just started up on a lap, I believe. But Alphatrix on top, Montana second, and M. Short in third. As if we've never been away in qualifying.
Yeah, it's pretty tight already at the top. I believe Campbell, he's had to go for a second lap here. He's pushing at the moment, but he is less than 1 lap of fuel on board. He's still going to finish off on this one. He invalidated his first run, so a disaster class for Renault, sitting 19th and 20th. See what he can do across the line. He got second fastest at 29.3, and well, he's only 3 thousandths ahead of Montana. I'll tell you what, Campbell's been really impressing me lately. He had a really strong performance last time out in Canada, so it seems like he's found a bit of rhythm in this season.
Kazizzle pushing the limits, coming through 14. He's nearly pushing the limits too much through 15 and 16. Get yourself back into the pit lane, my son, because that car is not going to get a 129, let alone a 128. As now Kazizzle comes in the final corner. He's wrestling that car around the track. A 129.776 in the end for Kazizzle. But my God, he could have spun it about 3 or 4 times there. He didn't, but that is called pushing the limits of Sochi.
Well, he still managed to pull out a 29.7, so you know what, Kazizzle's definitely someone we can't write off in this one, but it looks like the first sort of wave of laps have come over us, and we've got some more drivers on their out lap, such as just Asas, name changer, and one driver I'm looking at, Connor. He's been nowhere in the championship so far. I believe he's only managed to pick up about 6 points in this one, and when you think about his performances last season, it's really not reflective of how good of a driver he is, so I'm thinking he needs to put in a good lap here.
Yeah, Connor, the last one of the 4 cars that are coming around the final couple of corners. We're on board with Toxic, though, now on a lap as he sets about coming down in towards turn 2. Gets very close to the wall. Not really that committed, I've got to be honest, through turn 2 and 3. There was a bit of a lock-up there. Now tries to feather coming through turn 4. Flies through as he comes in line with the Fish Stadium, coming down in towards turn 4. And now on the Ice Hockey Arena on the left-hand side, he gets very close to the wall once again. 32.5, though, was not too bad from Toxic through the first sector. Could be in and around the Daniel Zhao Zhao sort of area with his lap time so far, but he's now pretty much halfway around the lap as he comes through turns 8 and then through this double left of turn 9 and 10, and this really flies at you quite quickly around here in Sochi as he now comes in towards turn 10 and now through 11 that was, and now down the straight through the kink of turn 12, running down in towards turn 13, and this is where this lap could really be made won or lost. And it's a 103.4 through the middle sector actually from Toxic. bettered actually by the Williams of just ASOS, I think, behind him, as Toxic gets all out of shape coming out of 14, and now runs up the hill in towards 15, and then in towards 16. Connor's on a good lap, I think, as well as Verstappen, who I think is invalidated, if I'm not mistaken, looking at the closest of them out on track. Toxic now coming through the final couple of corners. Let's see what he's going to do. Flies out the final corner, comes across the line, and he goes 8. So not a bad lap there from Toxic. Just ASOS is back into the pit lane. Obviously picked him an invalidation. Name change on lap. Connor invalidated and Verstappen invalidated as well. So Toxic, out of the 4 that started off on that lap, only the one to get round and set a clean lap, as name changes just invalidated as well.
Yeah, so they're all really struggling with the track limits around the circuit. It's definitely difficult to actually put in a clean lap. So I really do commend all of the drivers on the grid for actually being able to do so. But yeah, I don't blame the guys who are invalidating on their runs, because I find myself struggling quite often as well. I'm trying to find someone who's just begun on a lap, and I found one. Jiao Jiao just coming through turn number 1 now on the run up towards turn number 2. One of the longest run ups to the first corner on the calendar. We'll see what he can do now. He's not really attacked the corner as much as he'd hoped, but still just keeping it tight knit to the left hand side for turn number 4. He's really riding the curve, the long sweeping left hander here, switching it immediately to the right for turn number 5. He's missed his apex ever so slightly there. We'll see what he does through the second sector, through the first sector split. He's a little bit down on his time, almost 10th off of his previous best time. So Jiao Jiao's really got to put out the bag through sector 2 now. We'll see what he can do, attacking the right hander and up towards the double apex left.
He's invalidated. And he did.
And he's almost gone for a slide. He's had a nice save there though.
Yeah, very nice save. Nearly Kazizel sort of save, to be honest. Not as good as him, to be honest. But Jiao Jiao currently in 5th. I think Alphatrix has started up on a lap as well. He's invalidated 4.5 tenths down through that first sector. Montana's just started up on a lap. M Short, though, coming through the middle sector. 900s up through the first sector. Let's see what he's going to do in the proprietor, Cullen McLaren, coming through the middle sector. Well, he's a 10th up, and now M Short is responding. And always around this track, these second, third laps that these guys get in, they always tend to improve. So we should be seeing these lap times consider to come down. Alphatrix on top, Campbell second, Montana third, but M Short now looking to try and get on towards the top spot. Alphatrix with a 1:29.344 is the time to beat. Currently, as now M Short runs around the final corner. D Daniel puts in a stonker of a lap with a 29 flat, and just in behind him goes M Short with a 29.1. Seems like final sectors where everyone just gained the time there, with D Daniel and M Short both improving with 7 minutes to go.
It's a really tricky sector to absolutely nail, and it seems like D Daniel has come out on top in there, but Montana's found almost a 10th on this lap so far. This is enough to put him at least into the top 3 ahead of his championship rival from last season, Alphatrix. See what he can do up towards the penultimate corner, the double right-hander. We'll see what he can do past all the Lukoil signs to now open up the steering to finish up his lap. And he's not gone too far off of M Short there, but it's only 3rd place for him.
I was going to say, well, I literally said he was going to go quickest, but then, yeah, he went 3rd with a 29.1. Don't trust the head commentator here in League of Europe, to be honest. Or certainly within TTML as well, but there we are. Vaporize is on a good lap. He's a 10th up, 29.9, currently his best. I think he's been struggling actually for a bit of practice currently in this session. Division 1, of course, running at 640, and I don't think he's had time during the week, and you can see how violent he's trying to fight that car through the corners, through 17, much more controlled through there, and now through turn 18. He will improve on this lap time, I think. No, he actually sets the same lap time, a 29.924 in the end. Don't think I've ever seen anything like it, to be honest, because Zizzle's on a good lap as well. He's 6,900 up coming through turn 18 now. Runs the line and improved by 2 tenths up to 11th. So not bad lap there from Kazizel. Anybody of the leading contenders on Lando, by the way, improved up to 6th. So good lap from Lando, who took a shock victory, I may add, in TTML Division 1 on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, Lando's actually, yeah, I really do commend Lando. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a pretty good race a couple of times. I think I was commentating over him in League Racing Nations Championship QVR Ran event, and he performed so well last night. So he's really got that momentum behind him. I'm on board with Connor at the moment. He's just coming through the final sector. You'll notice Montana is actually just behind him. He gave him slipstream down the straightaway. He was already improving on his time, 2.4 through the first sector, but now we'll see what he could do as he crossed the line here. He goes into second position, and how about that? 2,000th off of D Daniel. He just can't be topped at the moment, but they are closing in on the Racing Point car.
All I'll say with that, though, he got slipstream. D. Daniel didn't. And D. Daniel, if he gets slipstream, will improve even further compared to Connor. So there's my big sticking point in this session going forward with 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Name changer on a good lap here, 103.6 through the middle sector again. Not that quick, to be honest, through the middle sector, but he now comes through 13 and 14. Let's see what the Ferrari can do out on tracks. He now reaches through turn 15 and then through turn 16. Spag, by the way, saying 28.8, and what WTF is these scary laps that are being set? You're going to have to live up to it in Division 2, my son. Name changer coming through the final couple of corners, comes across the line and goes 17th and 129.7. But the Daniel out on top, the whole field that have set lap time so far, covered by, what, 8.5 tenths underneath that?
Yeah, just about. Only 2,000 separating the top two at the moment. I'm a little bit... I don't know how I really feel about Montana giving Connor slipstream to actually surpass his own teammate in the in the qualifying table at the moment. So I don't know if really just because they're part of the same esports org, they're both part of NSX. Really, he should have given him slipstream. That's just my opinion. I don't think he really should have, but maybe they're allowed to. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, to be honest. Obviously, I think Connor is 2,000ths off the back of D. Daniel, but D. Daniel, crucially, did not get any slipstream on his lap, compared to Connor, who did, through that middle sector, as you said. And Alphatrix will be hoping to try and improve on his lap time as well, as he's now going to get prepared up for this lap. Let's see what the Division 3 man can do. As he flies through, well, cuts turn 15, turn 16, and now he's going to set about up for his lap. I thought he got this and next lap invalidated there, but there we are. Alphatrix now comes through, turn 17, and then through turn 18. Slow apex, but fast out the corner, and now he'll be trying to improve ahead of D. Daniel and Connor. The track, of course, is just degrading further, so the warmer the tyres get, the quicker the times will be towards the end of this session, as Alphatrix now runs down towards turn 2. Hard on the brakes after the 100 metre board, flies through turn 2, now through turn 3, and then through the left-hander of turn 4. Good to see some virtual fans there in the grandstand to the right-hand side, as he now comes through turn 4, and into the hard braking zone of turn 5. Gets down in 4th gear. Very nice through there from Alphatrix. So much commitment on this lap so far, and a 32.6. He is down on his lap time actually through the first sector, so maybe that run onto the final corners just cost him, but through the middle sector he comes. He'll be hoping to try and not invalidate as he comes through turn 9, and then towards turns 10 and 11, this double left of turn 10 and 11, and then in towards turn 12, this right-hander here, the Olympic Village just off the left-hand side there, but now Alphatrix is going to get a little bit of a run from the Renault just in front of him, and that Renault, I think, is Verstappen on an outlap, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's Campbell on an outlap. He's trying to aim for 28.9 according to Spag. Alphatrix has picked up the pace a little bit in the middle sector, 103.4. It's his first sector that was really, really bad in terms of his lap so far, so Alphatrix now will be hoping to try and improve, but he's got traffic, he's got Jow Jow, and he's got Bolin just ahead of him as well. They get off to the right-hand side, which is good, and now Alphatrix runs towards the final couple of corners. Can the Season 3 winner around here get on pole position? Comes around the final corner, comes across the line, and he goes 5th, and he only improves 1,000th ahead of Campbell in the end. Montana's improving 800ths up, and D. Daniel through the first sector, I think he's improving as well.
Yeah, this really is crunch time for all the drivers to put in their runs. 2 Alfa Romeos have just begun up on their laps. I'm trying to find anyone who might be a little bit further than those two. I believe Cookie Games getting slipstream from his teammate Just Asas down into the second sector split. We'll see, he's done at 103.1. This is quite an impressive time so far for Cookie Games, and he's not been able to put in a lap, so we'll shoot him right up the standings at the moment. We'll see now through the third sector where all time could be gained or lost.
Tell you what,
it seems like he's had a pretty nice run.
Montana's on a good lap as well, round the final corner, goes top, 28.9, good lap for Montana, gets a 10.5 ahead of D. Daniel, who's invalidated on his lap time and won't be improving. Cookie Games, you on about, goes second with a 29 flat, good lap from him. M Short down on the first sector, 300, Alphatrix is invalidated again, Campbell's invalidated, Hardy's invalidated, so plenty of invalidations being picked up, but this is the main man to watch, M Short. I'm sure you're on board with somebody else though, Dan.
At the moment, I was actually on board with M Short. We all want to watch the 2-time winner in this season. He's just coming through the second sector. He's not got slipstream. We'll see what he can do through the second sector split. He's down.
He's down on his lap time. Montana was a 103.1, I think, through that middle sector. So this is where M Short now is going to put it in. As Connor goes up to 4th position, Bullen up to 5th as well. Zhao Zhao up to 7th. So plenty of lap times improving further down the field because it'll go in 10th as well. But now M Short comes round the final couple of corners. He is the king of qualifying so far. Can he do it again? As he now comes through the final corner, can he beat Montana? Comes across the line. No, he can't. He cannot. And he goes third with a 29.081. And it's Montana, I think, on the top of the session so far. Neil's improving by a 10th of a second coming through the final couple of corners as well. There's a Mercedes of Lando, I think, that's going quite slow just in behind. But now Neo coming through the final couple of corners. Let's see what the XL man can do. Lando as well, just improving in behind. He improves by a 10th of a second, 29.2, but it was an invalid lap. Verstappen, I think, is coming through the final sector. Toxic are coming across the line as well. He improves up to 16. Not many improvements, though, happening further down. Verstappen will be the last man to cross the line, I think, but it's Montana out on top, Kuka Games in second, and M Short in third. And yeah, Verstappen, I think, is the last man to actually come across. With Vaporizer, I'm not sure if he's on a lap, but Verstappen goes 14th, Vaporizer isn't, and that's the end of qualifying as Daniel goes second.
He got close to his teammate there. I was just watching on board with him at the end of his run, but yeah, I think that he is the last driver to finish up on a lap. Vaporizer's putting into the pit lane, so yeah, that is qualifying over, and that's a front row lockout for the Racing Point cars.
Yeah, Racing Point, of course, leading the constructors coming into tonight, and they've got a significant advantage now, with Montana and Daniel first and second, but second to 6th position are separated by 0.05 of a second. That's 5 drivers in total.
Oh my goodness me.
Wow.
I don't... How? Just how?
In fact, looking down, second down to 18th is covered by just over 4/10. That's unreal. And Alphatrix and Campbell separated by 1,000th as well.
Oh my goodness.
Qualifying, Sochi, Division 1, it just goes all perfectly together, I think, and there's less than a second covering the whole field as well. But Montana out on top, Daniel in second, and Kuki Games in third. Kuki Games always tends to qualify well, then it all falls apart from them in the race. Hopefully tonight will be the way back for Kuki Games, the Slovenians. Montana takes it from Daniel in second, 10th and a half in the end over Montana to Daniel. Kuki Games in third with M Short in fourth, Connor in fifth, Bolin in sixth. How's that, by the way, for a little bit of symmetrical, or I can't say the word, but anyways, 6,000s between Kuki Games and M Short, 6,000s between M Short and Connor, 6,000s between Connor and Bolin. There we are. Zhao Zhao in 7th, Alphatrix in 8th, Campbell in 9th, Gazizel in 10th, Rocco, Hardy, Kuhn, Bly, Verstappen, Neo, Lando, Toxic, Vaporizer, just Ace has a name changer, just over 0.8 of a second, separating the top 20. If that qualifying session is anything to go by, then we're in for an absolute treat in the race.
Absolutely, I'm hoping that all the guys throughout the grid can just get through turn number 1 nice and calmly, but knowing the nature of this circuit, it has been known for some quite crazy accidents, we could say, around turn number 1. Hopefully everyone could get through nice and tidily, but looks like it's nice sunny skies, but there's a little bit of cloud overhead. Could maybe mean something later on in the Grand Prix.
Don't say that. Do not say that. I tried to say that last night in TTML Division 4, where the clouds were beginning to build over the circuit, and I was adamant it was going to rain, and then it came out sunny 4 laps from the end. So there we are. Can't have your own way, I guess, in commentary, but there we are. Turn 2 is going to be lovely, says Spark. Yeah, I think turn 2, honestly, is going to be the pinch point, I think. Certainly on lap 1, because you tend to go side by side. Certainly 2 wide can possibly go through there, but it's not a corner for trying to go 3 wide in, and that's where drivers might have to take the escape road around the outside, similar to what Yuki Tsunoda did, I think, in Formula 2, or Matsushita, one of the 2 Japanese drivers in Formula 2. They took the outside line, and then I think it was either Tsunoda or Matsushita crashed, taking that.
Oh God, was this in 2019?
2019, yeah, and it was Formula 1 as well last year. As well, with Carlos Sainz, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He drove into the wall. I think it was actually in Formula 2. I think it was Mazepin and Aitken that had the contact in 2019, and that it sent them under the barriers, right?
I did send them under the barriers, yeah. And there was another incident where Matsushita went into the barrier as well. I think he got caught up in that incident. That's what we're trying to refer to. Anyways, formation lap's begun. 27 laps awaiting the drivers out on track here in Russia. And looking at the tyre strategies, top 10 on a set of soft compound tyres. They qualified, of course, on that set of softs. But, bit of a split, 60-40 down in the bottom half of the grid, with Rocco, Kuhnblei, Verstappen, Toxic, Vaporizer and Name Changer all on a set of mediums. Hardy, Neo, Lando and Just ASAS all on a set of softs. Those guys on a set of softs will be looking to make ground quite early on, but you can make a pit stop from about lap 6 and 7, going to a set of hards towards the end of the race.
Yeah. I think
Possibly.
the favourable strategy is probably to go soft to medium. I'd say you'd go a little bit longer on the set of softs. I think they'd want to pit around lap number 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's normally about 17, 18 laps, I think, optimum that they're trying to get out the mediums, even though the tyre wear is differentiating towards the end of the race. Got there in the end. Montana coming around the final couple of corners as now we come in for Division 1. Round 4 of the championship is about to begin here in Season 5. And Matt, Tibos and Spag are going to be loving this, I'm sure, in the comment section. I hope you all enjoy this race. I'm going to cross over to Dan, though. Who's your top 3?
My top 3 is going to be Montana will take his first win of the season. I think M Short will come second, and then Bolin. I just got a feeling about him today.
Yeah, Killer's Instincts as well going for Montana for the race win. He has had 4 races without a win here in League of Europe, which is the longest he's ever had in any of the seasons he's competed in. So Montana now, hopefully, going to be leading down in towards turn 2 out on track. And we're just moments away from getting going here in Russia, across from the Black Sea, here in the Sochi Autodrome. And the 5 red lights now are going out here in Russia. And it's lights down, away we go. Kuka Games bouncing about quite a lot off the start, but Montana has got the lead, but for how long? Because D-Dyna's on the inside line, and the 2 racing points are going to go side by side. M Short has got an absolute flyer of a start. He could go 3 wide and towards turn 1. Could he get both racing points down and towards turn 1? He is! M Short's down the inside line. They'll have a pinch point there. Down the inside, that nearly happened with CRG Matthias, I think, in PSGL, but it's 3 wide through turn 3, and D-Dyna takes the lead, and Montana's dropped to 3rd. M Short's around the outside as well. Montana has had a shocking start. Cookie Games as well has dropped a position. Bolin, Connor, there's a little bit of contact further down the field. I think Hardy's been caught up in a collision, possibly with Rocco. Name Changer, I think, has been caught up in that as well to an extent. But D. Daniel leads. M Short in second. 3 wide through turn 3. And the guys on the outside line get the move done on Montana, and are now first and second.
Well, you've really got to contribute all that to M Short getting a brilliant start from the line. It looks like Connor, I believe that's actually Zhao Zhao, going pretty close alongside the Red Bull car. He's tucked into the slipstream of the Aston Martin sponsored Red Bull of Connor. We'll see what he can do into the chicane almost. He's looking like he's going for the move. He's going to have to swing for the outside line. Connor defends well there, and unfortunately for Zhao Zhao, he just can't find the move.
Oh, I thought Montana tried to go around the outside line of M Short there. He got a phenomenal run, but M Short now under pressure, and D. Daniel is escaping away up the road. And this is similar to what we didn't see last time out, where M Short, of course, escaped up the road in Britain and in Canada, and now D. Daniel's doing the same to his nearest championship rival and leads the way. So now we get a bit of a graphic split. M Short in second, Montana third, Kuka Games in fourth, Bolin in fifth as he comes across the line. Campbell's dropping all the way down the field, but that's just a graphic split, so don't worry. I think everyone's quite clean through on the opening lap. I think we saw a collision with Hardy, who's got left side end plate damage, and Rocco further down the field. As now we see side by side with Just Asas and Kuhnblei and Kazizel and Neo, and both of them, Neo and Just Asas, are up positions.
Yeah, looks like on the left hand side, there's a bit of a timing glitch. Everything seems a little bit stagnant, but one thing that is pure, just looking at the track, is that M Short seemingly is struggling at the moment behind, and oh my goodness me, that timing glitch there.
Just seen in the comments section, has been an 8-car pile-up in Division 3.
Oh gosh.
Could have had it worse. But anyways, 1 lap 2, D Daniel leading, M Short in second, Montana in third, Kuka Games in fourth. So only I think Rocco and Hardy had some sort of collision. Hardy's definitely got damage on that car, but now as they fly through towards the final sector once again, D Daniel leading, M Short in second, Montana third, and then Kuka Games in fourth. Everyone has now tuned out since I've just said that to Division 3, and we're going to get the lowest viewing figures of the season at this point. D Daniel is under pressure from M Short. M Short just catching up slightly. It's about 8.5 tenths, I would say, out on track as Montana tries to close in as well. Looking further down the field, anybody quite close enough? Yeah, I think everyone's running quite close. Verstappen is under a little bit of pressure from Toxic, and actually Verstappen's putting pressure on Vaporizer for 15th.
Yeah, Verstappen, he's right to the back of Vaporizer. He's kind of struggling in this season. I believe he's only done 1 Grand Prix, has the reserve driver. He's replacing Chapelele today, unfortunate for him, but now DRS is in effect, and they do get to utilise it down the first straightaway because the detection point actually comes on the run-up towards turn number 1. This is where we're going to start to see some moves being made, and Montana right onto the back of M Short at the moment. It seems like the top 3 just getting a little bit closer together as M Short and Montana begin to reel in D Daniel up ahead, who got a brilliant start and was about almost a second ahead of the McLaren car coming at the end of the lap, first lap, and they're all sort of running away with this at the moment. Cookie Games just latching onto the rear of Montana at the moment, but I would expect in the next coming laps that the top 3 are absolutely going to blitz it away.
Nobody's up more than a second away from each other, to be honest, as Kazittle's under a little bit of pressure here from just ASAS for 12th. This is the only gap that I think is more than a second possibly out on track now, as just ASAS uses up that DRS detection point to great effect, as Kazittle has just been absolutely swarmed like a bee. Just ASAS goes past him and he's through and he's up into 12th, and obviously he's going for that final point, but not only that, he's going for the honey out on track as well, with him being a bit of a bee. Well, there we are. Just say Assassin 12 because it's 13. I'm not killing it with these puns, am I? I'm not going to get commentator of the season at this rate. But Kazizzle really dropping back. He looks like he's overwearing his tyres quite a lot early on, and that's bringing the medium runners now back into play.
Yeah, of course, being on the medium compound tyres, they can go a little bit longer into the Grand Prix, and then they'll be on the softs towards the very end of it. It looks like Lando's having a nice run on Campbell, who's being squeezed to the outside wall. He's going to be boxed in if he tries going to the outside, and you can see how they're wheel-to-wheel. Campbell defending that really nicely, but a good exit from Lando here. You can maybe sense an opportunity to turn up forward. He picks the inside line, and he's not managed to make that one pay off, but you can see how much he's already putting the pressure onto the Renault car, the Scotsman, who I've been really impressed with so far this season, but he's got to do some defending. He's done that pretty nicely.
Yeah, ex-Division 2 champion, of course, Campbell, and now Lando right under pressure from him, as now QVR meets Excel out on track. Who would have thought that here in League of Europe? Well, everyone, because it happens in all 5 divisions, as Campbell now comes in 9th position, Lando in 10th. Looking further up the field, though, Montana getting pressurised slightly by Kuka Games, who I've got to say Kuka Games is having a much better race than what he did last time in Canada, as Kazizzle picks up the first 3-second time penalty of the evening, and now Name Changer as well follows through with a 3-second time penalty, coming down into the braking zone once again. Kuka Games right on board with him. That lag has subsided quite a lot from him bouncing off the start line, but D Daniel leading, M Short in second. It's all one big DRS train down to 12th, so all the point runners are currently down to 12th position, and then you've got a big train, Kazizzle, down to Hardy, and that is essentially 2 races going on. The battle for the win and the battle for 13th.
Yeah, well, I suppose all the guys in the rear train are definitely going to be fighting for the actual track position. Looks like Montana is already on the back of M Short. Not going to be able to go for it. The DRS train is just too powerful. It really negates any moves potentially being made unless someone makes a mistake or something.
He's got a great run here, Montana. Could he go around the outside of turn 4 and then into turn 5? Oh, he tried to juke him there. Maybe into a bit of a mistake, but M Short just realised that, and it's actually cost Montana a bit more time. And yeah, Spag, I think I might have just jinxed Kuka Games, to be honest, because he's now dropping back off the top 3, which is disappointing now. But yeah, commentators' curses come and go here in Division 1 as D Daniel leads the way, M Short second, Montana in third, Toxic the latest to pick up a 3-second time penalty. D Daniel's looking quite comfortable though out in front. He's got 62% of VRS compared to M Short on 28 and Montana on 13. So what is going wrong with the 2 guys ahead? Are they not able to catch him?
Maybe they're just taking a little bit too much out of their tyres from this fighting that they're doing so far. They are definitely struggling to keep up with D. Daniel. He just seems like he's in a nice...
Lando ran the outside of Campbell. Can he get the move done? No, Campbell shuts the door. Lando tried to go around the outside. He broke too late, I think, and Campbell sweeps on by, and he's still in a P9 for now. But Lando pretty much had the move done around the outside. He just got overcommitted, and those tyres now look absolutely shot on that car as we come on to lap 6. But Lando tried but failed.
I don't think the action's over here because Connor's on right onto the toes of Bolin at the moment. He seems like he's got a supreme run on the run up towards turn number 2. You can see he's just too far back. Cookie Games losing quite a bit of time as well to Montana. He's been able to make that up, but he was actually able to... He almost spun the car off of the final corner. He luckily saved it nicely, but now he's got to compete with Bolin and Connor behind him.
Top 6 getting away, to be honest, as well. Jojo's struggling for a little bit of tyre grip as clouds begin to build over the track. I did say this in TTML Division 5, Division 4 I should say, last night, where it came over cloudy and it was going to rain, and then it came out sunny. So I'm not preempting anything, but the clouds are beginning to build over the circuit.
Well, maybe the rain gods could shine upon us. We'll never know, but we'll just have to wait it out. I definitely think the clouds have gotten a lot heavier from the start of the Grand Prix, but it was just kind of light clouds at that point. It seems like everyone seemingly is settling into a rhythm where they're not trying to go for too many moves and not take that much out of the tyres. Whilst I believe actually last lap by, Cohen was able to get past Kazizel, so now he's the leading old strat runner, and you've got to put Cohen in a good position to take a decent amount of points in this race.
Gotta be honest, this cloud has just built over the cloud, the track so much. Just looking in the mountains in the distance there, the rain looks like it's beginning to come over the mountains. Essentially, that's what would happen in real life here around at Russia, around at Sochi. But D. Daniel still leads, M. Short in second, Montana in third, Cookie Games in fourth. Surprised actually nobody has came into the pit lane just set for an alternate strategy. But I wonder if these guys on a set of mediums who came in, as Vaporize is right on the back of Kazizel running down the straight and has got the move done, I think, down in towards turn 2. And yeah, Vaporize just he's up into 14. Kazizel gets a really superior run down the inside. It's beginning to rain out on track. It's beginning to rain. I did warn you. Kazizel and Vaporize are side by side. Mediums against the softs, and the mediums come out on top. Great fighting between the two AlphaTauris, and it's not done because Kazizel now on the inside line as he try and go for the move on Vaporizer. Vaporizer hangs it tough around the outside, picks up a 3-second time penalty. These guys are teammates. They shouldn't be fighting. Now they don't, and Vaporizer's through and he's up into 14. My oh my, that got Larry, but rain beginning to fall out on track. How spicy is that going to be as Kazizel loses the car and he's nearly out the race. He has got damage on that left side end plate and he spins the car coming out of turn 10, and Kazizel now all the way down to the back of the field, and with the rain coming out, I guess it's fortunate in a way, but he's got a hell of a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, looks like there's a fight going on between Toxic and Verstappen as well, but even Toxic managed to just move ahead of Verstappen. They're all getting really leery at the rear of the grid, and it seems like they're just beginning to make some mistakes, and it looks like already the top 3, top 4, they're all coming into the pit lane already. It's not even raining for a single lap yet. There's damage to Cookie Games. Cookie Games has just picked up a little bit of damage, I believe, on the back of Montana, and that was just for the entire field stacking up. Alphatrix has stayed out on circuit because his teammates coming to the pit, and with DRS now being disabled, it's got to be a disaster for him.
To be honest, I would have just risked the double stack. Yeah, get Hilbert in the pit lane, but it's better than going into the lap and losing the same amount of time, as now they come into the pit lane, and M. Short has jumped D. Daniel out of the pit lane.
Oh, and Montana's also been held up by his teammate. He's behind Cookie Games. He's just got his wing replaced. He's behind Campbell, Bolin, and Connor as well. So it's all unraveling for the Racing Point team. Montana's got a lot of work to do, but you can already see how much the rain has come over the circuit here. It has pretty much changed completely from what we saw just about a lap ago when it was only spitting out on circuit. But the guys that stayed out, their races are going to be royally screwed in this one. Alphatrix, Rocco, and Name Changer should have just come in for the double stack, unfortunately.
3/4 of a lap that took from as Vaporizer was spun just in the background of the shot. Just saw that coming through turn 4, so Vaporizer now round Is he going to get the car going again? Yes, he does. He's got left side end plate damage, though. I wonder if he's got caught in the outside curb running through turn 4, and it spun him into the wall. And look at how that car is now going to fight for grip out on track. Alphatrix leading. Rocco second, name changer in third. I just thought I mentioned, by the way, M Short out on track was 10 seconds behind name changer at the beginning of this lap. Look at the gap now.
He's oh my word. And he's going to get past him in a moment here, because you can see how much Name Changer's struggling. He could be holding up D. Daniel here. And, D. Daniel almost spinning the car. Oh, that was a heart and mouth moment for him, but D. Daniel's right onto the back of M Short. Of course, no DRS. In the wet conditions, it's not safe to. Alphatrix understandably comes into play, as does Rocco, and I assume Name Changer comes in too. So D. Daniel without DRS is going to have to find a way past M Short if he wants to win this Grand Prix.
Wonder where Alphatrix is going to come out in all of this. I think he's going to filter in maybe beyond the Ferrari of Kuhn Bly, I think, coming out the pit lane. He's halfway down the pit straight now. He's going to be side by side, I think, with the McLaren in behind, which is Neo. So Alphatrix is now out of the pit lane, and in fact, he's not going to be anywhere near what I've just predicted. He's going to be side by side, actually, with Verstappen, I think. Nearly coming out of the pit, and then Verstappen now on the outside line. Alphatrix is on the inside line, running down in towards turn 2. Alphatrix wants it, and he gets it, and he's out in front in P12. But now Verstappen, with the fresher tyres, with the warmer tyres, tries to go all the way around the outside, coming through turn 4. This is impossible, but it's proven in the wet that he can do it, as now Verstappen tries to come in towards turn 5, but Alphatrix is through, and he's into 12th position. Vaporizer, by the way, has came in for a set of wets.
That's quite ambitious, but I guess if he's in 20th position, you might as well go for it. He's going to find there'll be a lot of difficulties with the temps in those tyres, but maybe we could definitely see some full wet conditions later on in the Grand Prix, and if so, he might benefit from this one here. I believe this is actually the first wet affected race we've had of this season, unless Austria was wet.
Canada was wet last week.
Oh yeah, it was. That was last week.
You said it earlier on as well. You said it rained in Canada early on, and you've just gone back on your own words there. Anyways, Yellow flag in Sector 1, Vaporizer, that's just proven that it is not wet conditions. You lose that coming through turn 4 and 5, but M Short leading the way from D. Daniel in second, and I'm very glad to say, if you are tuning in at this point, the battle for the championship, the lead, certainly between M Short and D. Daniel, that is now on in terms of the race lead out on track. So this is going to be one fascinating race going forward. Whether we see any overtakes or not is a different thing, or whether you just hear two commentators rambling for the next 30, 40 minutes, or however long this race will go on for, remains to be seen.
Yeah, well, I'm not really a fan of the wet races. I definitely prefer the wet qualifyings. They're not as jam-packed with action as the dry races can be, but that certainly means we're not going to be starved at all, because Zhao Zhao is onto the back of me. That seems to be the closest gap at the moment. He got really close going through turn at number 3, I believe it was, and through turn 4 he's not been able to really get the car down beneath him. It's just pretty much a following game in the wet conditions, especially through the corners, because the dry line begins to form, and you're going to get a little bit more grip there, rather than if you're out onto the completely undisplaced wet weather. The wet conditions, yes. The wet water. Water is not wet. I do apologise.
Water is not wet.
It's not.
I'm sure leading. D. Daniel second, Bolin in third. I'll escape you from digging yourself into even more of a deeper hole, as Alphatrix now comes onto the back of Zhao Zhao. Neil as well, not too far behind as well, but M Short leading. D. Daniel second, Bolin in third. As Alphatrix tries to make his way up through the field, and now comes down in towards turn 13 and then through 14. Yeah, Spag has just tuned back in, and now there's rain out on track. Yeah, it literally came within 3/4 of a lap out on track, and this is why now we are going to see the battle for the lead, and the battle for the championship lead, more importantly, as well. As M Short leads, D. Daniel in second position, rain affected here, but it is going to be fantastic, I think, to see how this race is going to unfold. Vaporizer, by the way, looking at his tyres, looking at how he's dropping off on Kazizel, it's definitely not wet tyres out on track. So trust me, if you've got somebody in your party that's driving in this race, tell them not to come into the wet, because Jeff told you.
Well, we might need to coin that one, James Jeff, and use them in future races. Seems like at the moment the top three are a breakaway pack at the moment. Bolin has found himself in a podium position after problems for Montana in the pit lane. I believe other drivers, I believe Zhao Zhao was affected by the by his teammate being near him, as was Verstappen. I believe Verstappen was quite far down the order anyways, and he's come out in 13th position. But yeah, it seems like Connor's struggling in the wet conditions, and it just seems like kind of the entire pack is just too spread out at the moment. Not really making for too much to talk about at the moment.
Which is a real shame. Keep us entertained in the comment section while we're in this mid-race bore fest, we're going to call it, I think. Zem Schultz still leads D Daniel in second. You're on board though with Alphatrix. He's on the back of Zhao Zhao. Caught about 0.3 of a second compared to last lap around, and be trying to get onto the back of the two guys in front, who of course are Zhao Zhao and Neo. And Neo is under pressure now from Zhao Zhao just in behind. And Zhao Zhao, a king of the intermediates normally, he should be making his way through the field towards the end of the race. We saw in Austria as well how the race was affected, and Zhao Zhao, of course, in the intermediate, the full intermediate, I think, for the majority of that race in Austria. And he absolutely excelled out on track, and now he's got to pass an Excel driver.
Yeah, but he's right onto the back of him. He's still got Alphatrix for company coming down into the first two corners at the moment. The really long run up towards turn up to the first proper braking zone. You can see how he's lost out quite a bit to Neo. No, actually, Alphatrix is close to him as there's yellow flags. I believe that might be... Yeah, it's Vaporizer. Yeah, I thought it was Campbell going slowly there, but it's just Vaporizer getting out of the way of everyone, and he's back on a set of intermediate tyres. I think it's safe to say he's not going to have a good one in this race.
Yeah, he's not going to win this one, I think it's fair to say, unless everyone goes a lap down all of a sudden. There's a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2, and that is Vaporizer getting out the way of the Mercedes of Lando, who's running in 8th position. Lando being quite consistent, actually. He's behind Montana. Montana, of course, held up in the pit lane from, I think he was running in 3rd position, if I'm not mistaken. There is Vaporizer just in behind. But Lando, again, you commentated on him earlier on in the week. I commentated on him in TTML Division 1. He won it there. And again, he's doing such a good job out on track. This consistency has just came from absolutely nowhere this week.
Yeah, well, I certainly know him as a very hard-working driver. Of course, only recently, in the last couple of months, he joined the XL team, and they seem to really have helped him kind of step up his game and become a much more fulfilled driver. You're right there, Jeff.
Yeah, Liverpool got beat 2-0 off Everton. That's all I'm saying.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Just saw that yellow flag in sector 3. Vaporizer again. 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. That was through 14, I think, where he extended the track limits. He's probably got a little bit of damage on that car. And if he's got 10-second time penalty, and if he finishes this race, I'd get that removed if I was him. But M Short leading, D Daniel in second, Bolin currently in 3rd position as the front three begin to close up. Looks like Bolin's got a bit of pace about him, to be honest. He's now on the back of D Daniel. It was a second just 2 laps ago. It's now 0.6 of a second, and now the front three are covered by 1.2, 1.3 seconds.
Got quite a bit less ERS because this was out of the race. That's in the pit lane. I don't know why he's retired. He was in a decent enough position where he could have, maybe if fortune favoured him, he could have been in a points paying position.
And then
but
leaves the session. It's 2 weeks in a row he's done that. It's 2 weeks in a row he's done that, and I'm sorry, but your teammate is still continuing on and he's a lap down. You're not a lap down, so why give up?
I think for a lot of drivers, they do tend to give up quite easily. I mean, maybe because it got damage on that lap, and he just thought, you know what, I'm not going to have a good one in this. But maybe there's an underlying reason for it. I still don't think, realistically, he should retire in the pit lane just because you're not having a good race. Because, well, you never know what can happen in F1. So, you know, just kind of try and finish out the race at least, or get far into it. But I guess that's his decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, Spag's already alluded to, by the way. How dare I call Division 1 boring? 4/10 separated the field. One mistake and someone is down to last. Yeah, I totally agree with the one mistake is down to last. I'll tell you what, though. Rain looks like it's getting heavier out on track. Unless that's just the amount of spray, or I'm being blind, but I think that rain is beginning to fall heavier.
Oh no, it certainly is. If you go onto a broadcast shot, you can definitely see how much more rain there is than previous times, and it seems like M Short is actually beginning to struggle at the moment. He's probably been saving up quite a bit of his ERS, but he has lost quite a bit of time to D Daniel. That immediately stretches out to where it was before, so anything you gain on the straight, you're just going to lose it off the exit, and whatnot. Closest gap at the moment is about to separate out because Jiao Jiao not being able to find a move on Neo here. It's just really a struggle for these guys to have a good scrap in these conditions.
Yeah, as I clear my throat there, M Short leading, D Daniel second, Bolin in third. We are halfway through this race. Thank you still for tuning in, by the way. I hope we're providing you with a little bit of entertainment on this Saturday night, even though the drivers are not really going for, well, they're not really close enough to go for and facilitate for any move. So I apologise about the lack of overtaking and the lack of catching up out on track as well, but Alphatrix trying to catch onto the back of Jiao Jiao. But as Matt alluded to, it is so difficult in wet conditions to try and overtake a car ahead and gain, let alone try and overtake out on track, and that's what we're seeing. We're just seeing sparse gaps appear throughout the field. We've got M Short to Bolin separated by at least 1.1 seconds now, so that gap is closing down. Further down the field from that, Lando behind Montana 0.5 of a second, and then the rest, Neo, Jiao Jiao, Alphatrix, Verstappen, the one we're on board with currently, they're 0.6 away from each other as well. One mistake will bring you back into contention, possibly, but only if you have the button 2011 mentality, as Spag has just alluded to in the comments.
Yeah, of course, we do remember looking back to that race. I believe it was in Canada last week. It could have happened, but it didn't for anyone, so, I mean, maybe it can happen here. I think Vaporizer could put off a masterclass in this one. Certainly on for a good one today. But at the front, Bolin, he's looking like he's not really catching like we thought he was in the last couple of laps. I believe Connor's actually beginning to catch up with this train. He's got a big sort of chasm between himself and Campbell in this one, 3.5 seconds, so Campbell's really struggling. Cookie Games and Montana not too far off the back of the Scotsman. Maybe if he starts making some mistakes, we could fight a fight between these drivers, but right now it has been a snooze fest.
To answer Spag's comment, by the way, in the comment section there, yes, I think there would have been plenty of moves if it was dry, but it's not, and it's still intermediate out on track. M Short still leading, D Daniel second, Bolin third, and is there a boat race anywhere yet? Oxford and Cambridge is coming up very soon, I'm imagining. In April, I think that's happening. But M Short leading, D Daniel in second, Bolin in third. It's more canoeing weather rather than go for a piss up in the rain with your mates sort of race, I think. But M Short leading, D Daniel second, Bolin in third. Name changes have took up a 3-second time penalty. Probably one of the most exciting developments of the race so far. Certainly in these intermediates, 3-second time penalty being picked up by name changes. Hardly anybody has got a penalty, which I'm really surprised in actually. But M Short leading, D Daniel second, Bolin in third. How many times am I going to say that now with 11 laps to go?
Yeah, well, I don't normally do this, but I've just found myself yawning during a comm stream, and that's not what we really want to see, because they're just not close enough to really make and try for any moves.
Hang on.
And,
Hang on. Jiao Jiao could be going for a move on Neo, running down in towards turn 1. I'm not going to preempt anything, but he could. He's close enough. Running down in towards turn 2, but he's not close enough because you can't overtake in the Inters, and Neo and Jiao Jiao stay in position. But crucially, he's caught up onto the back of Neo. Now he's got to try and overtake.
They just tease us a little bit there. Maybe they're just playing a mean joke on us, and they're all going to start fighting towards the end of the Grand Prix. I'm starting to think when maybe we could see the wet tyres. It seems like the rain has kind of been stagnant at this level for quite some time now, and it looks like there is sort of a dry line forming, so I'm not too sure if we'll actually see the wets in this race. But maybe the rain could just decide to pick up a lot, and we could be in some full wet conditions, or at least it'll spread the grid out a lot more, but we at least could maybe allow for some mistakes throughout the grid.
Yeah, it could, and I think honestly the clouds are beginning to lift slightly out on track, as we have seen a move, name changer, which I've missed, passing Hardy up to 17th position. So name changer is through. We have seen an overtake. Name changer is through, albeit you didn't see it and I didn't see it. Name changer's through up into 17th.
Yeah, they're just all. They're all of the drivers throughout the grid are kind of just floating throughout this gap of, like, especially in the trains. They're floating throughout a 5 to 6 tenths range. They're getting closer at some points on the straights, but then just nothing comes of it. It seems like Neo at the moment is catching Cohen, who could be struggling at the moment. So maybe we could see something develop out of that. I believe it was about 1.8 seconds at the beginning of the third sector. That's now decreased to almost a second. So it seems like Cohen is struggling in comparison to his XL rival of Neo, of course, different organisations. And it's nice to see actually 9th, 10th and 11th, all three different orgs.
Yeah, really good to see as well. Connor as well has caught up onto the back of Bollen, 5.5 tenths per second. Toxic has just developed up a 3-second time penalty. Another exciting development to report out on track as M Short leads from D Daniel in second, Bollen in third. But I just want to talk about the progress of Connor, because Connor's now on the back of Bollen, 4.5 tenths away, coming towards the double left of turns 9 and 10. And now he looks in a different class, if I've got to be honest. It's one thing to catch a driver though, it's another thing to overtake.
Yeah, especially in these wet conditions, it's really difficult to really find and force a move. I believe there might have been a spin. That's a name changer. That's allowed for Hardy to get back past. So, yeah, unfortunate for name changer there in the first sector. He's just not had a good season. I know name changer's pace, and he's been really quick on this game, but he's just not found it in League of Europe so far. It looks like, actually, we're starting to see a little bit of a train form behind Campbell, because well, Montana and Lando have really closed up to the back of Cookie and Campbell at this point.
All aboard for the Lando train. You're going to be playing a game of Hangman in the comment section there as well. M Short leading from D Daniel in second, Bollen in third, Connor in fourth. But now Lando on the back of Montana. If I have a look at the F1 driver, oh, he's retracted it now. Couldn't guess myself, but M Short leads as just Asas is fighting with Toxic running into the final two corners, and Toxic has made a mistake, I think, and just Asas is throwing it up into 14th position out on track. So the Lithuanian is through, and he's up into 14th. Toxic through down into 15th position now, and I don't know who that F1 driver is. Is that bad?
Well, we've got no letters at all, but I'll have a think about it throughout the stream.
Five-word first name, and then 4-letter second name. If anybody can guess, yeah, name changer retires into the pit lane, and M Short's now put away by a second. So M Short's all of a sudden picked up the pace, and it's now 1.1 seconds clear, and Bollen has lost time. Connor's lost time as well to all of this. So I wonder if we begin to see a little bit of a shift in terms of the drivers trying to get... They may have to pit towards the end of the race, so it could be quite exciting in that perspective. In the meantime, though, Alphatrix is right on the back of Zhao Zhao. Come on, we need to see an overtake live on stream, as Zhao Zhao now is under pressure from Alphatrix. Alphatrix now runs into the slipstream. Is he going to try and get the move done down in towards turn 13? No, he's not even close enough for the move, and Alphatrix still in P12. Zhao Zhao still in P11 out on track, and Waluigi has guessed it before you.
He's guessed it without any letters at all. I wasn't thinking that long ago. Oh well, there. I've been completely done by Spags, so I'm really upset about that one.
Yeah, if you put a Hangman in about the best commentator of the season, you'll probably put Daniel Hoggard in, to be honest, rather than me. But Alphatrix leading. Alphatrix just in behind Zhao Zhao, leading Verstappen as well. Verstappen has now caught onto the back of this 5-car train behind Koen Blai now, and Koen Blai seems to be trying to catch onto the back of Kuka Games Campbell, and that battle there. So we could see all that bring up together into one succinct battle out on track. LOE driver is the next Hangman in the comment section. Alphatrix, though, is on the back of Zhao Zhao, but M Short still leading the way, and looks like he's now beginning to control this race a little bit more. 1.1 seconds is the gap over D Daniel. Bollen in third, Connor in fourth, Campbell losing time in fifth, and he is beginning to try and break away from Kuka Games in sixth. But M Short just controlling this race for now. Still 8 laps to go after this one, and M Short leads as Hardy has DNF'd coming through turn 3. Is that going to be a safety car? Out on track. Yes, it is. It's a safety car. Out on track. M Short now will lead the safety car. That's the most exciting development of the race so far. Safety car now deployed out track. You can screw your Hangman. The safety car's now out.
Well, if anything, the safety car will put a little pin in any fight that could have been happening, which just wasn't happening at all. So now we can enjoy the Hangman game a little bit more.
Oh, goodness me. Safety car, though, is in. I wonder if anybody's going to come into the pit lane. D. Daniel is straight in. So D. Daniel straight in. Obviously feeling that he can't get those tyres towards the end. I think he had an illegal overtake there as well on M Short coming into the pit lane. So now he is now into the pit lane. And this is where D. Daniel is now going to be on the fresher tyres. But does everyone come into the pit lane towards the end of the race? Or are they withholding the fact that it could turn towards dries towards the end? We have got 8 laps to go, so nothing can be behold out on track. But M Short, Bullen, Connor, D. Daniel now dropping all the way down the field. We have seen pit stops further down the field as well. Toxic in, Rocco I think is coming in, along with Vaporizer who's also in. But M Short's still leading out on track. I've got to be honest, I think it's a bit of a risk for most of these guys staying out.
I think the tyres might be able to. They've been on for 11 laps. I've got about the same lifespan as a set of medium tyres. I'm just trying to remember when they came. I think they might be able to go to the end in this one. Just about, especially with these laps under the safety car. I think D. Daniel, they might not have been the right move to come to the pit lane. If everyone else does end up coming in, then it's a masterclass from them. But yeah, I'm not too sure.
I'm not too sure either. I think D. Daniel might have overcost it, but look at the rain. Rain is beginning to fall heavier out on track. Everyone still came out on a set of inters, but the rain is absolutely falling now. Could turn to wet conditions towards the end of the race, but M. Short, Bullen, Connor, Campbell, currently your top 4 with Cookie Games there in 5th. Are we going to see any pit stops, I wonder? But looking at the Hangman out on track, I thought I was going to guess me, but yeah, that A... James head 14. I'm not a driver in LOE, but I could be counted as one.
The Spag's made a mistake there, so yeah, the Hangman game, it's fallen apart. It's just not professional anymore. A little bit of fun in the League of Europe Division 1 stream. That's what we like to have on a Saturday night.
It's keeping everyone's mentality up as well, I think, out on track. Goodness knows how this race is going to unfold, but we have got 7 more laps to go after this one. M. Short leading under the safety car. He will become the virtual Burt Marlander out on track. He is not coming into the pit lane, neither are the front 4, and neither is anyone, to be honest, I think, out on track. Montana, Lando not coming in either. They are risking to try and stay out. We could see punctures towards the end of the race, but M. Short now leads on to lap 21. Safety car still out. I think we've got at least another lap under the safety car out on track, and I am honestly not sure what that Hangman actually is. It's not from here in Division 1, I can tell you that.
No. I'm trying to think too. I'm really invested in this actually. I'm trying to find potential drivers that it could be.
May as well. One person has now just tuned out because we're playing Hangman now, rather than focusing on the action. But I'm sure leading the way for Bullen in 2nd, Connor in 3rd. We are just 7 subscribers, by the way, away from getting 600 on the channel. So if we can get there, maybe before the end of tonight, maybe before the end of the racing this month, that will be absolutely fantastic. Out on track, a T has been guessed, and I'm still very unsure. I'm really not good at Hangman. I'm not sure who that person is. Division will give it away. I'm
perplexed.
There's no T ending in anyone's name in Division 1, so I can tell you it's not from Division 1.
You've been rude with you've been mean with us here. Too hard. Wait, someone guessed it?
No, just name change it, end in a T.
No, Spag said yes, so I was like, who's guessed it?
End in a T. End in a T. I'll tell you, well, something that will end up in the letter P will be, I hope, safety car coming in this lap.
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 Stuff.
Yeah, P at the end of the lap, of course. M. Short now under the safety car as we are now about to get going. This is probably going to be the most exciting safety car restart of the season so far, as M Short now leads under the safety car start, and of course he's got to wait until that safety car comes into the pit lane. Bit of a tricky technical pit lane as well for the safety car to get into, so that's why M Short is going to wait probably until just before the final 2 corners to come into the pit lane and wait for that safety car to cross the white line. He's backing up the pack way too much, I think, to be honest. Nearly a little bit of contact in behind. Bolin is sticking right on his back wing, on his rear wing I should say, but M Short now will go out of the final 2 corners, and now we're going to get back underway. And M Short's actually got a really good start under this safety car, and now we're back underway as M Short leads the way. But Bolin has got a significant good start in behind, but M Short now leads down in towards turn 1 and then through turn 2, and now runs down in towards turn 2 as Montana has got a good start here. He is on the back of Kuka Games. Can the Swiss man go around the outside of Slovenian? He tries to dummy it down the inside line. Kuka Games just about makes the corner. Montana just about makes the corner, and they're still staying 5th and 6th.
I believe at the moment in the chat, it seems like, oh, never mind, Lando's trying to go for a move on the outside of Montana. He's going to go for it here into turn number 5. Oh my goodness me, Montana shutting the door, the last opportunity there. Lando, he tempted fate to go for the move on Montana. That's cost him a lot of time, but
Toxic side by side. Down the inside line he goes on Jasaitas. This is for 14th position. Jasaitas has stayed out in the pit. Toxic is through though. Fresher tyres, gets the move done. He's up into 14th, and look at how he's now going to be carving his way through the field along with D Daniel. Out on track, Jow Jow was on the back of Neo just in the foreground, but M Short leads. Bolin in 2nd, Connor in 3rd. Front 3 have stolen away by a 2nd, but look at Jow Jow now on the back of Neo. Neo really under pressure now in these intermediate conditions as D Daniel and Toxic are side by side now, running down in towards turn 13, and now Jow Jow is side by side with Neo. Don't know which battle to pick, to be honest, as now Jow Jow goes to the inside line. The Dane on the German, down the inside line he goes, using a bit of a braking marker. D Daniel still stays ahead of Toxic just in behind, but Neo through. Oh, there's 3-1, there's contact, and Alphatrix is in the wall. Alphatrix in the wall. Caught up on the inside line, 3 wide, coming through turn 14, really does not work, and Alphatrix had got a really good run on both of them, and it's really the cost of the Jow Jow and Neo having a bit of contact, and that's why Alphatrix is in the wall, and Alphatrix is once again not going to be scoring any points.
This season just completely going down the drain from this point forward. I thought Bolin maybe could have been on for a move on the back of M Short, but it has not come to anything. What about Montana? He's right onto the rear of Cookie Games. He's managed to catch up about a 2nd across his lap. Cookie Games going very, very deep. He's having to cut turn number 3. It's going to invite Montana around the outside. What about Lando? He's got a very good run onto the back of Cookie Games, but unfortunately just can't find the right line. It's so difficult to switch over, especially when you're turning in the wet. So yeah, he's going to have to stick in 7th position, but that was certainly an opportunity he could have taken.
We really appreciate the entertainment, by the way, Lenny, out on track while the safety car was out, and while we were getting distracted as well from the action out on track. F1 Hangman, we should make that a regular, I think, on a Saturday night. Kuka Games picks up a 3-second time penalty, but M Short leading, Bolin in 2nd. Bolin looks to me as if he's got better pace through this middle sector, as now he closes in to within 5.5 tenths, as now comes out of turn 12, and then through the kink at 13, or runs down through the kink at 12 even, down in towards the turn 13. Marcus getting a lot of support though. M Short, he can't be on 3 in a row, can he?
He's certainly got the prospect of doing so. Well, I believe we asked him if he had confidence in Russia. I don't think he said he actually he was too pleased about this circuit being on the calendar, but well, he's completely proven us wrong here. Jow Jow still trying to make moves onto the back of Cohen. Cohen's been struggling in the very heavy wet conditions. It doesn't look like, I think it might just be behind the crossover point where wet tyres still could be a possibility, but this late in the Grand Prix, we've only got 4 laps to go. It wouldn't be worth going onto the wets at all.
M Short, I've just received the word from his mum to tell me to shut up. So I will. Bolin on the back of him though, down in towards turn 1. Terrible. Terrible. Don't treat your commentator like that. M Short leading the way from Bolin in second, Connor in third, but Jao side by side with Cohen running down in towards Simon Kumblai, of course, just having a run, and now Jaja's on the inside line. Jaja's going to get the run in towards turn 4. Can he get the move done? It's superior stuff from the Dane, and he is through, and he's up into 8th position, and the IFR man is through on the QVR man. It's like League Nations Championship, whatever you like to call it. Jao is through, and he's up into 8th position on Kuhn Bly, and Kuhn Bly had no response.
Yeah, that was calm, cool, and collected from Zhao Zhou. He's really come alive in the after the safety car period. I certainly think he could be on for a couple more positions. Of course, he's going to have to get past Cookie End on circuit. Despite him having a 3-second time, but it's going to knock him way down the order, especially since they're so close together. I believe, actually, he might be in the reaches out the points.
Rain looks like it's stopping nearly out on track as well towards the end of the race. We're still going to get inters, I think, definitely towards the end of the race. But look at the rain beginning to stop out on track. This is going to favour the guys in behind on the fresher tyres, you would imagine, like the likes of D Daniel, like the likes of Toxic, and D Daniel now side by side with Verstappen. Oh, and they make contact, and D Daniel tries to force his way through on the inside line. Now on the outside line, can he get the switch back? No, Verstappen just parks the apex there, and Toxic is through. Where did he come from? I didn't even see him. I was nowhere near him the last time I looked, and now Toxic is through, and he's up into 12th and gets a free position on D Daniel. That is absolutely insane stuff. Toxic must have had such a superior run, so much so that he was on the inside line, got the move done on D Daniel, and now he's on the back of Verstappen. Brilliant stuff by Toxic.
Why not for the Haas team, because Rocco is right onto the back of D Daniel as well, dropping like a fly in this one at the moment, and he might be getting swatted by Rocco here, but you can just see he's lifting off the ERS, and D Daniel's actually getting closer to the back of Toxic at the end of the straight. He just can't find a way through, and he's not close enough to really assert any authority at all. But Zhao Zhao's found himself onto the back of this fight between Lando and Cookie Games. He just needs to get past Lando at the moment. Does Zhao Zhao realistically top 5 finish could be out of reach for the Dane, but definitely a P6 is on the cards for him, and he's certainly been super impressive in these wet conditions. Really one to watch out for in the intermediate phase, especially what he's shown in Austria. Maybe if we have a full effective wet race and qualifying as well, he can certainly be up there.
He could certainly be up there, but I tell you what, Lando in front of him as well has really done a fantastic job, apart from out breaking himself there as I rode on board with him on the back of Cookie Games. Nearly went into the back of him, but now they run down the straight, and now Zhao Zhao's going to try and seize this opportunity, running on the thinner line through that little kink, and now up towards turn 13 in the braking zone. He's going to try and close up on the back of Lando, but not close enough as Toxic tries to close in on the back of Verstappen. Don't think D Daniel will be happy with Toxic getting past him, coming through turn 14 last lap around, but Toxic is through and he's up into 12th nonetheless. Top 2 though beginning to get away. M Short leading, penultimate lap of the race about to begin here in Russia. It has been a little bit of a ball fest for the first half, the second half spiced up with that safety car, and M Short is just 2 laps away from making it 3 in a row here. He has got to keep the consistency out on track, he has got to keep the cars within the white line, but Bolin is going to be a thorn in his side, and he's not going to go down without a fight, as Lando is now right on the back of Cookie, running down in towards turn 2. Can he try and get the move done? No is the answer. Cookie remains in position for 6th.
You can't really force a move coming to turn 2 unless you're right alongside them. It's just not a viable option. What I would suggest for these guys is to maybe just hang back a little bit and maybe hope for the driver in front to go defensive into the corner and then get them on exit. That is where you really want to make your move. You're close enough to the back of the driver, but as you said before, M Short is just 2 laps away, and we've said in League of Europe the main battle is going to be between Alftrix and Montana. He has absolutely broken down boundaries for drivers who have come up from Division 2. He's in Division 2 last season, and he's now a full-fledged driver in Division 1. And you've really got to give it to him. Bolin's still onto the back of him, but I don't think he'll have too much of a challenge onto the rear of M Short, who's just proven himself to be a top contender since the start of this season.
He really has, and now we approach the final couple of kilometres in this race. The final lap and a half still left to go here in Russia, and we are still about to crown a possible 3-time winner so far in League of Europe this season. But 5.8 kilometres and one more lap awaits the drivers out on track. M Short leads by 0.6 of a second. Gotta be honest, I think he's got this race controlled now. I don't think Bolin can get past unless there's a penalty out on track, because it is so difficult to try and overtake. Onto the final lap we go, and it's 6.5 tenths the gap. Zhao Zhao has just picked up a 3-second time penalty, so your commentator's curse has now happened with Zhao Zhao picking up that 3-second time penalty as well. But M Short leading from Bolin in second, Connor in third. I am not trying my best to jinx him at all, Matthias, there in the comment section. I'll tell you what though, D Daniel side by side though, running down towards turn 1. Can he get the move done on turn 2? No, Toxic falls out wide. It's going to be side by side now. Is D Daniel going to have the outside line on Toxic? I think Toxic's got this. D Daniel trying to fight Verstappen, trying to go around the outside as well on Neo, but less than 4 kilometres to go now in this race. D Daniel on the back of Toxic, final half a lap to go though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really kicking off at this point. You just can't find any grip on the outside of the circuit. D Daniel was in such a good position, and it's just really unfortunate. He's sort of thrown it away with that pit stop. He could have made it to the end. He tried pitting when he thought everyone else would as well, and it's just not worked out. But if you don't take risks, you're not going to win anything. So I guess big risk, big reward. Unfortunately, it's not paid off for him.
M Short now reaching towards the final 5 corners out on track. Coming through turn 13 now. He could be on his way to being a 3-time champion. Or a three-time race winner, I should say, out on track. He could be a 3-time champion, but are we seeing a changing of the guard here in League of Europe in Division 1 so far this season? M Short now coming through the final couple of corners. Bolin is still there, 4 tenths away, but M Short coming through the final couple of corners. Vaporizer spun in the background though, but M Short now round the final corner. He's going to make it 3 in a row, and he wins in Russia. Bolin in second, Connor in third. In the end, Kuki Games, Zhao Zhao forces the move on Kuki Games for the position. Gets the move done up into 8th position. Kuki Games, in fact, and Zhao Zhao picking up a lot of penalties. Alphatrix is going to be the last one to come across the line along with Vaporizer, but M Short 3 in a row. Are we seeing the change in the guard, Dan?
I definitely think we could be seeing that. Of course, the colossal titan that is Montana only finishing in 5th position. The Alphatrix, really the armoured, down in 16th today after that spin, and it really is just a shame to see for him. But I definitely think M Short is here to stay. He's really staked his claim. None of these races have been a fluke, he's told us now, and I certainly think that is evidence of it. Brilliant race from him. He controlled it pretty much from the get-go when he tried for that move 3 wide into turn number 2. That was a sign to Montana and D Daniel to watch out for him this race.
And watch out for him, he indeed did, as M Short reaches to the top step of the podium for the 3rd time out on track so far this season, and he extends his championship lead over D Daniel nonetheless as well. Really good performances from Bolin as well and behind. Kuka Games fought to the line with Zhao Zhao in behind as well, but M Short wins from 4th place on the grid up to 1st, pretty much within the first couple of laps. Bolin 2nd, Connor in 3rd, Campbell 4th, Montana 5th with the fastest lap. Lando, a driver of the day, I think 2nd time in a row he's got that, in 6th, with Cohen in 7th, Neo in 8th, Verstappen in 9th, Di Daniel rounding off the top 10, Joseitas in 11th, Zhao Zhao picking up P12, Kuki Games, Rocco, Toxic, Alphatrix, Vaporizer, Hardy, Name Changer, and Kazizzle. Those were your 20 finishes. I think it's about time we get that Brit in.
Absolutely, and might need to bring Connor in as well as Bolin. Really impressive to see actually Connor's found himself in a good position. He's not been really in the best of form so far this season, only 6 points before today's race, but he has finally changed the tides of his season. Hopefully we can see more races like that from him.
I think we should only invite M Short in because we don't want to be here all night, because
okay.
I've just realised the time.
It's quite late. We're actually almost cutting into Division 2's time. But,
we can cut into the commentator of the season, Mr. Daniel Huggard's time. No worries at all.
What I'm thinking in the future is we should probably just... We've got 3 groups now with M Short in the party. And we should probably just make our own group and then just create the party in that so we could join at the end of the race anyways.
Yeah, we could just join it now, to be honest. The stream will keep rolling.
I've already invited him to this one, so might as well
well
just keep it going.
Oh, goodness me. We are at the end, though, for Russia, and next week from Russia with Love, we go to another track that the drivers sort of love out on track, and I'll have to see which one it is. Give me a second, I just need to get the standings up for the race and the calendar. We go to, oh god, oh no,
We got to
Monaco.
Yeah.
Hate it.
See, I remember the calendar because my race in the PC tiers reserve. I'm not very good, but yeah, so I always know what's coming, and I just knew by your reaction.
Oh my god, it's Monaco. All I'll say with Monaco is whoever gets pole position will win. There we are.
Well, maybe still stuff can happen in the races. I'm trying to think. Last time there was a Grand Prix and something crazy happened. It's not the most exciting race, but it's historic.
We had Campbell win by 20 seconds.
Oh wow!
2 seasons ago in season 3. Season 4 wasn't too bad as well. I think it was. Give me a second. I'll check who won last season in Division 1 around Monaco. I think Monaco was last season, if I'm not mistaken. No, last time we went to Monaco was where Campbell had won by 20 seconds and defeated Montana because Montana picked up damage and held up a bit of a train. Anyways, our race winner for the 3rd time in a row is here once again. Mr. M. Short, can you hear us, first of all?
Yep, I can hear you.
You can hear us, fantastic, and we can hear you, which is important. Talk us through that race, a 3rd win of the season. You must be thrilled with yourself.
It's not bad, is it? 3 in a row. Yeah, quite a good quali. I had a pretty insane start, and we were like 3 wide into turn 2 and 3. Somehow everyone made out of that alive. But yeah, I don't know why Daniel pitted under safety car. Like, I only finished on 60% tyres, so he must have had really bad tyre wear. But yeah, once I was behind Daniel, I was just sitting behind him, and then got lucky for once in the pit stops and actually jumped Daniel rather than getting held like I normally always do. But yeah, just controlled it from there on in the rain, and bit scary with the safety car because I'd started to build up a bit of a gap to Daniel and got it just above a second. But then yeah, just managed my ERS pretty well, and like I still finished on like 40% ERS because I just didn't need to use the rest of it.
And honestly, I was putting, you'll hear it back in commentary later on, but I was putting so much pressure on you in the last 3 laps. You must have been feeling it from behind with Bolin.
Yeah, yeah, Bolin was getting close at some points, but it's so hard to overtake here in the dry, let alone in the wet. So yeah, I was just, it was, yeah, he did get quite close, but I seemed to get a much better exit out of the last corner and the corner before the back straight, so I could control it pretty well from there.
And it was fantastic to watch, of course, out on track. Dan, do we have any questions?
Yeah, well, I guess in these last 3 races, you fought a lot of different drivers. Given that you're quite a margin ahead in the championship, who would you say are your main rivals towards the end of the season?
Oh, still Montana, Alphatrix. Like, Alphatrix, he will start getting poles and wins eventually, and same with Montana. He'll start dominating again soon. He's just got pretty unlucky in the 4 races so far. Like today, he got held in the double stack, didn't he? Because the rain came on so quickly. I was expecting it to be at least another lap or 2, but it started raining, and on the same lap we were all in for inters. So yeah, he just got unlucky there. But yeah, it's still them two, no matter what.
Yeah, of course, bad luck tainted Montana's race, but that does not take anything away from you. If you'd have to say one track in the calendar is not, or just in the game entirely, that you absolutely hate, where we could see you maybe stumble a little bit, where would it be?
I'd say probably the next 2 races, Monaco and China.
Oh,
they're not going to be very good for me. Yeah, so they're just going to be damage limitation. Yeah, I suppose Monaco, just as long as you don't get wing damage or penalties, you can basically get a top 10 easily. But yeah, China, I've never been quick there, so I've just got to do the alt strat and hope there.
Yeah, well, really good job today, and I do hope that in the next 2 races where you say you're not too strong, I hope good results come for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure there will as well, but what we'll do is we'll let you go and enjoy your evening, because I know there's going to be an alcoholic drink or two going to be drunk in that household once again this week, and in true Hunger Games fashion, may the odds be in your favour next week.
Thanks, guys.
Did I have to put a Hunger Games put in? Yes. I was researching that on Google leading up to that, and I had to try and fit one in. But there we are. Yeah, the odds are going to be in everyone's favour. Well, in one person's favour, certainly, I think, within Monaco. But Dan, will come to you to end off the stream. Who was your driver of the day?
My driver of the day. There's 2 options for me. One of them's got to be M Short with his 3rd win in a row. The other one, I'd probably say Zhao Zhao with his overtakes today. He was really bold and brave, and I certainly think that paid off for him.
Yeah, I think M Short definitely gets awarded driver of the day, and for me, Lando as well gets an honourable mention. Really good performance, nice and consistent race for him. But there we are done. Hangman is done. We will return next week with both Monaco and F1 Hangman, I'm sure, next week, and it's going to be fascinating to watch. But we better get off the air before we're kicked off the air by Mr. Daniel Hoggard. Thank you so much for tuning in, though. I've been James Head, he's been Daniel Field. Please take care of yourselves in this crazy world we all live in. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next week, goodbye.